Hey guys, what's going on? Madman here. So, I'm getting a lot of great comments. I thank you guys for that. Awesome, awesome. Keep the comments coming. Yeah, I'm going back to my roots, King Cobra. Anyway, been getting a lot of great comments, a lot of good feedback on the videos. Now, there is two comments that I got on my origins of what a greaser is and where the style comes from. If you haven't seen that video, I'll post a link below. Anyway, guy sends me two definitions that have to do with derogatory slang. It's not incorrect, okay? The term greaser, it has to do with the context that you're using it. I want to make a video about this because even back in the day when I was in high school, this came up every once in a while. Somebody would go, hey, that's a derogatory slang for ethnic people. Yes, it was used as a derogatory slang. However, when you are in the rockabilly retro greaser culture, that slang does not exist for that. It does not mean that. Now, back in the day, the term greaser could be used in reference to people of Hispanic origin or Italian origin. It even goes so far to say Greek origin and stuff like that. I've never dealt with Greeks, so I can't tell you. I don't know. I've never really known any Greeks, and they've never talked about it. Actually, no, I knew a couple of Greeks, but they were much, much older. They were businessmen. But they never talked about the term of being called a greaser. So I can't speak for the Greeks. However, when it comes to the Italians, when it comes to people of Hispanic origin, yes, that was a derogatory term used, but it's all in the context, okay? You have to understand that the term greaser, when it comes to the retro rockabilly, rock and roll, American rebel style that we are in, the reference is to the product that we use in our hair, whether it be Brill Cream, whether it be Murray's, whether it be Sport and Wave or Dax or Royal Crown. It's the product that we use in our hair. Also, you have to take into account that a lot of greasers were tradesmen, and a lot of them became mechanics. So they were used to working on cars, which were known as grease monkeys. They were always working on cars. They were always getting greasy and dirty, and always had. And that's also where the rag came in the back of the pocket. If you ever see greasers that wear the rag in the pocket, now on the West Coast, you see a lot of them wear bandanas. That's a little bit more along the lines of the gang origins, which I'll go into in another video. But typically, that's where the rag you would see, because they would always take the rag out, wipe their hands. Also, if you've seen the video where I talk about why the belt buckle was worn to the side, I'll also post that video down below. That has to do with the origins of, the grease monkey, greaser, people working on, guys working on cars. Anyway, back to the whole point. Some of you guys got to understand, greasers were not just any one ethnicity. You got to understand that there were greasers of all ethnicities. And I know that media portrays, the rockabilly greaser is, either being of Irish, Italian, or Hispanic descent. That's not true. African American. They have African American greasers. I have pictures of that, of old pictures on motorcycles, cuffed jeans, the hat, like the leather hats, the jackets, the girls with the, the high riding boots. I've got pictures. As a matter of fact, I'm going to post them right now. Take a look. So as you can see, we have all different ethnicities of greasers. It has to do with the product used in the hair, working on cars, working on motorcycles, and just the style. So it all depends on how you use the term greaser. If you walk up to in Italian, or you walk up to a somebody of Hispanic descent, whether it be Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, they're from Guatemala, or Peru, or wherever. It doesn't really matter. Anyone of Hispanic, or Latin origin. If you walk up to them and call them, "You fucking dirty greaser," that's probably going to be taken as an insult. Because they don't wear grease, and they're not wearing the grease in their hair, they're not wearing leather jackets, they're not working on cars or motorcycles. But if you walk up to, say, a Mexican greaser who is wearing a jacket, has his hair greased up in a pompadour, or, with the elephant's trunk or whatever, with the sideburns, wearing the cuffed jeans, working on a car, he's not going to get pissed off at you. He's going to be like, "Hey, yeah, fuck you too, man. How you doing?" He's going to be cool about it. I grew up, in the area I grew up, I was like one of a couple of white greasers, Irish greasers. I'm an Irishman, okay? That's my origin. I'm Irish. That's my last name. I have an Irish last name. So, you got to understand, they didn't take it as an insult. I didn't take it as an insult, because that's what we are. That's what we are. We wear grease in our hair. Some of them work on cars and motorcycles. One of my best friends, who's a greaser and happens to be Mexican, is a mechanic. And I used to walk up to him, "What's up, you fucking grease monkey?" And it was no problem. So it's all in the context that you're using the term. So if your plan is to go out and be a fucking racist and be an asshole and a prick, then go ahead and do that and see what happens to you. But if you walk up to somebody of the rockabilly scene and call them a greaser, they're not going to get really pissed off at you. I mean, they might not identify themselves as a greaser. They'd be like, "Oh, I'm a roots guy," or "I'm a rockabilly," or "I'm a psychobilly," or "I'm a whatever the fuck they tag themselves as. But ultimately, a greaser is a greaser. And this also goes for guys that I've known that were, old guys that were greasers back in the day. Of course, they grew up, they went with the times. It was the original greasers versus what we have now is a little bit different. You got guys now that respect the style, respect the music, respect the culture, and continue it on. The original era guys, that was just a way of life at the time. It was like a fad for them. That's just what was. So to them, it's like they moved on, they got jobs, they got married, they had kids, they just went on with life. It wasn't like a big thing to them like it is to us. To us, it's a big thing. And usually, depending on, the interactions between the original era of greasers and the new era, the old era respects the hell out of the new greasers because they've continued it on. And every old-timer that I've met identifies me as a greaser. "Oh, hey, you're a greaser. Hey, I was a greaser too back, in 1955. I remember I had my old Chevy or my old Cadillac, and, we had like a little car club and this, that, you know what I mean? It's all in the context and how you use the word. So so basically the whole thing is, don't be a fucking asshole. Don't be a fucking prick. Use it properly. If you're in the style, you're a greaser. If you're not, there's really no reason to be calling anybody a greaser. If you're not in the style, you're not talking to somebody who is in the style. Anyway, as always, guys, hang loose, be safe, stay the fuck out of trouble. If you don't know, get a clue, get a brew, get a rock and roll tattoo. I'm out. Look for more videos. Thank you for subscribing and sharing and liking. Continue to do so, and I will continue to produce. Late.